Chapter 25, Sirach, Ecclesiastes. And three things I was beautified and stood up beautiful both before Elohim and men. The unity of brothers, the love of neighbors, a man and a wife that agree together. Three sort of men my soul hate, and I am greatly offended at their life. A poor man that is proud, how is that? A rich man that is a liar, and an old adulterer that doted. If thou hast gathered nothing in your youth, how can you find anything in your age? Oh, how comely a thing is judgment for gray hairs, and for ancient men to know counsel. Oh, how comely is the wisdom of old men, and understanding and counsel to men of honor. Much experience in the crowd of old men, in the fear of Elohim is their glory. There be 9 things which I have judged in my heart to be happy. And the 10th I will utter with my tongue. A man that hates joy of his children, and he that lives to see the fall of his enemy. Well is him that dwell with the wife of understanding, and that have not slipped with his tongue, and that have not served a man more unworthy than himself. Well is him that have found prudence, and he that speak in the ears of them that will hear. Oh, how great is he that find wisdom! Yet is there none above him that fear Yahweh. But the love of Yahweh pass all things for illumination. He that holdeth it, whereto shall he be likened? The fear of Yahweh is the beginning of his love, and faith is the beginning of cleaving unto him. Give me any plague but the plague of the heart, and any wickedness but the wickedness of a woman. And any affliction but the affliction from them that hate me, and any revenge but the revenge of enemies. There is no head above the head of a serpent, and there is no wrath above the wrath of an enemy. I had rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked woman. The wickedness of a woman changed her face, and darkness her countenance like a sackcloth.
Wow.
Her husband shall sit among his neighbors, and when he hear, he shall sigh bitterly. All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of the sinner fall upon her. As the climbing up a sandy way at the feet of the aged, so is a wife full of words to acquire.
We always hear, beautiful things like a woman's form.
Yep.
There's a witness to that. As the climbing up a sandy way at the feet of the aged, so is a wife full of words to acquire man. Stumble not at the beauty of a woman, and desire not her for pleasure.
Wow.
A woman, if she maintain her husband, is full of anger, impudence, and much reproach. So if he being taken care of by her. A wicked woman abated the courage.
Right. Yeah. Read that again.
A woman, if she maintain her
husband,
is full of anger, impudence, and much reproach. That
See,
ain't her job.
Right. Ain't that something?
A woman, if she maintain her husband, is full of anger, impudence, and in much reproach. So she at the point of if she got to take care of that man, he playing
right.
That's all day, she feeling some type of way. She gonna automatically feel angry.
Right.
That ain't her role.
Yep.
You don't witness with her nature.
Even though for a minute she'd be like, everything cool.
Yeah, I envy you, all that.
Yeah. Time go on for her, she'll be like, man, she'll be looking at him different.
Something right.
Yep.
Hey, that was 22.
Well, I mean, not the same token, though, because I know somebody right now that's kind of going through that right now. But the thing is that he always has taken care of his household. But he was stricken in recent years. But he's not able to go out and do stuff now. But even I can see where even, his wife had, certain issues with that. But that's a different dynamic, though.
Yeah.
We talking about a slothful man that he can't wait for his wife payday to come in.
all day.
Right.
She's the breadwinner.
Yep.
A wicked woman abated the courage, make up in heavy countenance and in wounded heart. A woman that will not comfort her husband in distress, make weak hands and feeble knees.
Right.
Of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. Give the water no passage, neither a wicked woman liberty to gaze abroad. If she go not as thou wouldst have her, cut her off from thy flesh and give her a bill of divorce and let her go.
Wow. But as servants of the Most High Yahweh, we don't have to worry about any of that.
Right.
And that's deep too, because you fall away from the Most High, like I always say, you're subject to every type of spirit in the world.
What you gonna do next?
We shouldn't have brothers here that don't want to go to work, that be dependent on their woman for everything like that. Shouldn't have that among us like that. Yep. It's like as servants of Yah, we all carry that responsibility, which is a lot different from what it was before we served Yah. You know, in some way or another, we did things totally contrary. We just thought that's just how it is. That's just what's going on with us. But man, all right. Anyway, today's Shabbat, y'all, we're gonna do Q&A. So if anybody got any questions, that's what we're gonna focus on today. Somebody, if they might type something in the room. Hey, sister, good to see you today. If you have any questions or anything, you came at the perfect Shabbat. Because most Shabbat, we don't do Q&A ourselves. No, I mean, we have open forum, but usually I teach. But because I'm just a little bit under it today, and because they say they got questions, and I hope you have questions, we're going to do questions. Q&A. All right. Oh, so you got something you want
to...
to...
I'm going to introduce this Q&A.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Because the other day I was reading... oh, you don't have to... You might get it up here. Oh, yeah. Oh, good. Yeah, that's straight. Yeah, definitely. All right. So check this out. I want to read some of y'all that I read earlier out of this other book, but I'm gonna show it to you in scripture right quick. But this right here is about the Greeks had a little idol that they had called I believe you pronounce it Asclepius. All right, so let me read this real quick. I'm gonna tell you about it. So it say the early Greeks viewed illness as a divine curse and prayed to Apollo, their idol of medicine, for recovery. In Greek mythology, Apollo had a son, Asclepius, a physician god like Imhotep, who y'all know in Mitzrayim you had a dude named Imhotep. He was an actual man, but after he died, they deified him. When he was like the father of a lot of medicine, especially in that region. But so this dude was like Imhotep, who treated the sick with help from his daughters, Hagia and Panasi. So Hagia, y'all know where that word come from. I mean, where Hagin come from, right? It come from the daughter of his idol that the Greeks had. You know what I'm saying?
Question: is Imhotep one of the idols that these are in that they worship?
Yeah. They end up deifying him, but he was a real man. But they ended up creating a school in Memphis, inside of Egypt. The school they named it after him, and kind of he became a god from them. Right. Just like a lot of idols come from real people. You know what I'm saying? They just
right.
About time, same thing they did to Haile Selassie with the Rastas. You know what I'm saying? They deified him while he was alive.
Or Satan.
Saint Nicholas, right? So we got certain words that over in our, especially the tongue that we use in America, where everywhere probably, but it came from idols, especially Greek idols. You know what I'm saying? So you had Hagia and Panasia. So Hagia, the source of our word hygiene, represented healthy living, while Panasia, whose name was cure all, treated disease. So when early Greeks visited temples dedicated to Asclepius, where physician priests treated them with baths, exercise, massage, fasting, prayer, herbs, and counseling. Treatment culminated in animal sacrifice to entice Asclepius' spirit into patient dreams to tell them how to get well. The program was similar to the regimens of many today's health spas, except for sacrifices and snakes. So basically, how allopathic medicine world of America is modeled exactly to the paganism they used in Greece. So they use a lot of snakes, right? Now check this out. They say snakes were sacred to Asclepius, and they slithered freely around his temple grounds. One omen of imminent recovery was to have a snake lick a patient's wounds. Snake's tongue thus became symbols of healing, and they remained ingredients in medicinal potions well into the Middle Ages. An echo of the snake as healer belief survives today. Asclepius was often pictured carrying a staff with a snake wrapped around it. Y'all know where that come from, right?
Yeah, where it come from?
Right, but let me finish reading real quick. The snake staff combination became a symbol of medicine, right? So we all see this symbol of medicine in the allopathic medicine world over here in America, but we know they come from, right? In the scripture with Moses. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to read that. You ain't got to read it. I'll read it.
Okay.
All right. We're going to go to number 21, I believe.
Yep.
Pull my sword out. Let me see here. Flip things together. Now keep in mind right here, what we just read about the Greek medicine, what was kind of the grandfather to allopathic medicine, that was 460 BCE, right before the time of the Maccabees, right? Which was like 2 millenniums after the time of Moses or Shemaiah. So we're at Numbers 21. I'm gonna read from the top of that. Just to where we at. And when King Arad, the Canaanite, which dwelt in the south, heard tell that Yasharel came by the way of the spies, then he fought against Yasharel and took some of them prisoners. Yasharel vowed a vow unto Yahuwah and said, if thou wilt indeed deliver this people into my hand, then I will utterly destroy their cities. And Yahuwah hearkened to the voice of Yasharel and delivered up the Canaanites, and they utterly destroyed them in their cities, and he called the name of the place Hormah. And they journeyed from Mount Hor by the way of the Red Sea to compass the land of Edom. And the soul of the people was much discouraged because of the way. I should check this. So, verse 5. And the people spake against Elohim and against Shemaiah. Wherefore have ye brought us up out of Mizraim to die in the wilderness? So they asked him, hey man, hold on. You brought us out of Egypt, that beautiful place,
right,
like America, bring us out here to die in the wilderness. So they say, for there is no bread, neither is there any water. So they worry about bread and water, right? And our soul low, this light bread.
What light bread was that? Huh? Right. Right.
So they had got acclimated to the manna that the Most High will provide.
Right. They loathed it. That's right.
So get what verse 6 say, and Yahuwah sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, and much people of Yasharel died.
Oh man.
Right. So fiery serpents, check this out. Therefore the people came to Shemaiah and said, we have transgressed, for we have spoken against Yahuwah and against you. Praying to Yahuwah that he take the service from us. Now check this out. Shemaiah, like all priests and prophets, they always was mediated between the people.
Wow.
Same thing with Mashiach did. You know what I'm saying? And Shemaiah put his life on the line, just like Dawid came to the point where he almost wanted to put his life on the line. But Hamashiach, I mean, the Most High only allowed Hamashiach to actually die for us. But they was like the image, preparing us for Hamashiach.
Right.
But let me show you something.
Also, before you do that real quick,
Yeah.
I made this point earlier in previous Shabbats about how we always think that we can always go to the Father ourselves sometimes. But when you find yourself on the wrong side of the Father, it's always good to have someone that may not be on the wrong side of the Father to intercede for you, you know, but that's pretty much who Yahshua is.
Yeah.
So he stands in that, but still on the basis, because he don't answer the prayer of the sinner. He said the prayer of a sinner is abomination.
Proverbs 28:9.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
John 9:36.
Right. I just want to throw that out, but they knew, even though they hated Shemaiah, they hated this cat. They really did. That's why they kept sinning all the time, because they couldn't stand their leader. Satan had put that in our people to not be acceptable to the Father and Shemaiah. It's deep how that worked. But when they got to this point, which they always got to this point, they knew to go to him.
Oh, yeah.
Ain't that something?
Yeah, already.
Right.
Exactly what it was. So what we at verse 7, that it say, therefore the people came to Shemaiah and said, we have sinned, for we have spoken against Yahweh and against you. Pray to Yahuwah that he take away the serpent from us. And Shemaiah prayed for the people. So they wanted to take the serpents out of them. So Shemaiah did what he had to do. He went on to pray for them. So verse 8 is saying, Yahuwah said unto Shemaiah, make thee a fiery serpent and set it upon a pole. So Shemaiah got the revelation during his prayer, like, this is what you're going to do. Take a fiery serpent and set it upon a pole, and it shall come to pass that everyone that is bitten, when he look upon it, shall live.
Mm-hmm.
And Shemaiah made a serpent of brass and put it upon a pole. And it came to pass that if a serpent had bitten any man, when he beheld the serpent of brass, he lived. So check this out. Y'all just saw how the Most High gave Shemaiah this revelation to create the serpent on the pole. And we just read how the Greeks, almost 2 millenniums later, in 460 BC,
Mm-hmm.
they honor they idol the same way. Now y'all understand that a lot of our culture was picked up by so many people. Even when we was in Mizraim, they was influenced by it, because before we even got to Mizraim,
Mm-hmm.
Abraham was. That's something different though. But anyway, so they got their whole swag from us. They fought the snake on the pole, and we know that. But I'm gonna show you what this pole and the snake actually was, because we still got the pole right now. We still got a snake right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this pole and the snake, it was almost to the point you can look at it as a reminder of yourself, because you got a pole and a snake inside your body. That's your GI tract. Snake. Oh, y'all follow me now? You feel me? In the pole is your spinal column. You feel what I'm saying? Now the way how they work together is when these people looked at this snake and pole, it's a reminder that the way you get rid of these fiery serpents, parasites, you feel what I'm saying? Worms, sicknesses. We all know pestilence. That's spiritual warfare anyway. You know what I'm saying? When we get sick, that's just spirit. You feel me? You can see how Yahshua, when he was healing people, he was talking to the sickness like get up and go, as if it had their own consciousness. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They let you know sickness ain't just something random. You feel what I'm saying? It really just spirit you might be dealing with. You know what I'm saying? So those fiery serpents, people getting bit by fiery serpents, basically getting sick, getting catch bugs, parasites, viruses, whatever. Like we got going on coronavirus. So when you look at this snake, this brass serpent on the pole, it should remind you that it starts with you. You feel what I'm saying? Your GI tract, what you put inside of you, your GI tract is like a hollow tube. It ain't a part of your body when you think about it. It's running through your body, but it's not a part of your body because it's a hollow tube. So the food that you put in you is just going through there. And your body do what it do to absorb the nutrients all the way from your mouth, the amylase in your mouth, break down the enzymes, go down your esophagus. Boom, it's a small intestine, your duodenum. That's where it really start looking like a snake. When they get past your organs, they do what they do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Go to your colons. Go through your whole colon system, come straight back out. You feel me? Elimination. So your body do what it can do to eliminate toxins anyway. We was made to regenerate. That's how the most how you know how the most are real because he created us so complex, but still so simple. You know what I'm saying? So the pole that the snake's sitting on is, like I said, our spinal column. Your spinal column got in the inside your spinal cord. The same way that come off of it, your circulatory system and your lymphatic system, which is still used to keep your body whole. So whole time I'm saying all this to say this, like, you know what I'm saying? Especially in these times, we really need to be really paying attention to understanding our anatomy and physiology, how our bodies work, and how we, because we right now during this experience while we're on Earth, in order to complete our mission, what the Most High want us to do, we got to maintain our temple. Because your body's a temple. What the priests had to do, they go in and maintain the temple, right? Just like when we was in the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve, what they had to do? Maintain the garden. You know what I'm saying? Now this, I don't want to step into like any type, seem like I'm stepping into mysticism when I say this, but that's what we is. We the Garden of Eden, we the temple. You feel what I'm saying? So in order to complete First Corinthians 3rd chapter.
Yeah.
Pause. Yeah, hold on. Let me go there. You want to read that real quick?
Yeah, First Corinthians 3rd chapter and the 16th verse. It reads, First Corinthians 3rd chapter and 16th verse, it reads, know ye not that you are the temple of Elohim, and that the spirit of Ruach of Elohim dwelleth in you? So that's like the question you would be asking, right? If any man defile the temple of Elohim, him shall Elohim destroy.
Right, so you're going to destroy yourself.
Yeah, for the temple of Elohim is holy, which temple you are.
Right, so get what? We got to try not to destroy our temple in any kind of way. Because we're a representation, we're an image of the Most High. Then we almost destroying the Most High. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm going to take y'all to John 3 real quick. I'm going to read this. Because I'm going to show you.
Say it again, John.
Yeah.
Yeah, John. The regular John without the first or the second. Or
the third.
All right, so now we're going to take the holistic approach to it. You know what I'm saying? So John 3, verse 13.
Mm-hmm.
And no man have ascended up to heaven. Now Yahshua was talking to Nicodemus, right? I don't want to have it ain't gonna
right.
So verse 13, and no man have ascended up to heaven, but he that come down from heaven, even the Son of Man which is in heaven. And that Shemai lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, right? It say, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up. So Hamashiach, he brought a whole little message. He is our representation of the serpent outside of our own temple. You feel what I'm saying? But the reason why the Hamashiach is, Yahshua is because he give us a holistic approach. Now, hold on, let me read the verse after that. That whosoever believe in him shall not perish but have eternal life. So now he's talking about having eternal life beyond our physical body. You know what I'm saying? Which is, so he tying in the physical, the mental, and the spiritual. So you got the brass snake, that's your physical. You got the pole, that's your mental. And Mashiach, when you in the truth of Yahshua, when you got the spiritual side of it, that's the whole holistic approach to it. Now, I'm gonna go back to Sirach because I'm gonna bring something out in there real quick, and then I'm gonna sit myself down. So Sirach 38. Sirach 38 on the top. It say, honor a physician with the honor due unto him, for the uses which ye may have of him. For Yahweh have created him, right?
Mm-hmm.
For the Most High cometh healing, and he shall receive honor of the king. So get what? When we be healing, when you hear people healing testimony of the Most High, but the Most High gave us all the resources we need. He gave people those certain type intellect of the human body, show you what herbs to use, put together anyway. Verse 3, the skill of the physician shall lift up his head, and in the sight of great men he shall be in admiration. Right, because who don't want to live healthy?
I was about to say something, but verse 4 is going to say it.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yahweh have created medicines out of the earth, and he that is wise will not abhor them.
So, physicians that we see today, we call them physicians, but they're not really physicians.
Oh man.
See, so I wasn't really familiar with this passage, and I was thinking to myself when I started reading, I said, oh, that's interesting, because I know what physicians were when this was written.
So
Yeah, I thought that, but then that verse 4 bought it before I could even bring it out, that the physicians that are studying under these medicine schools, that get these big contracts by Pfizer and Johnson and Johnson, and,
those are drug sorcery.
Say it again?
Drug sorcery.
Yeah, sorcery,
Witchcraft.
which is where the term,
Pharmacy.
not to be offensive, but that's what pharma comes from.
Yeah, farmer. Oh, just like we saw the other Greek god names, you know what I'm saying, witchcraft names.
Right.
That's tied in with allopathic medicine. They don't really understand the body, but they got to go to school and get a degree. So they don't understand the whole matter. They only understand a degree or what they tell them by indoctrination.
That's like theological school.
Yeah.
Cemeteries.
Cemeteries.
Yeah.
Oh,
Cemetery.
man.
Right. Cemeteries. Right.
Oh, man. So that's why I say Yahweh had created medicine out of earth, and he that is wise will not avoid them. Genesis 1:29, when he say he created every seed bearing fruit for meat. You know what I'm saying? He created herbs, the herbs for healing. Straight up. Can't get around it. Ain't no Tylenol.
But you know what's really interesting about that? He had a philosopher, I believe he was a philosopher, Greek, named Hippocratic. Right.
Right, yeah.
But he has a real intelligent saying that he said back then. He said something, somebody can correct me on this.
Oh, Hippocrates.
Right.
Yeah.
He said, let your food be thy medicine, and let your medicine be thy food.
Right, because during his time, they had an understanding of it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Oh, yeah. The understanding of herbs and all that, it transcended Israel. It was before Israel, during Israel, so it wasn't just limited to us. Matter of fact, we all subject now to this brand new higher technology of chemical medicines or whatever. Oh, I like that.
Right.
I like that. Right.
And,
Correct.
you know what's so crazy? We were just talking about earlier, but if you look at like the land that we came from, as far as geography, from Western Asia to Eastern Africa, Silk Road, that's where you get all the herbs from. And that's why the city of Memphis and Mizraim became the mecca for when it came to medicine around about this time. Matter of fact, see, I got this in their book as well, when cause they found something called the Hebrew papyrus, and it listed 876 herbal formulas for more than 500 plants. Now this was 3000 BC, around the time of Shemaiah, around the time of Moses. 1500 BC.
Right. That's the time.
So this is the world's oldest surviving medical text, a 65-foot papyrus dated from shortly after the time of Joseph, around 1500 BC.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The Hebrew papyrus. Now I was concerned about the word Hebrews. I wonder if it had any relation to
How you spell it?
like Eber, E-V-E-R.
Okay.
like Hebrew.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that struck my attention.
Yeah.
We're gonna go back to Sirach real quick though. With that pressure right here in Sirach 38, we verse 5 was not the water made sweet with wood, that the virtue thereof might be known straight up. That sounds like making tea.
Well, it's just like even now, right.
Yeah.
But it's also the wood, just like other sediments or minerals, are filters for the water.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
And he have given, verse 6, and he have given man skill that he might be honored in his marvelous works. Which so doeth he heal men and take away their pains. Of such do the apothecary make a confection, and of his works there is no end, and from his peace over all the earth. My son,
Wow.
in your sickness, be not negligent, but pray unto Yahweh, and he will make you whole. Leave off from sin and order your hands aright and cleanse your heart from all wickedness. Give a sweet savor, and a memorial of fine flour, and make a fat offering as not being. Then give place to the physician, for Yahweh hath created him. Let him not go from you without has need of him. There is a time when in your hands there is good success, for they shall also pray unto Yahweh that he would not prosper, that he will prosper that which they give for ease and remedy to prolong life. For real. So name of the game is endurance to the
Read that
end.
15 verse.
Oh, I done came up out of it. Let's see. 15. He that sinned before his maker, let him fall into the hand of the physician. My son, let tears fall down over the head, and begin to lament over the dead, and begin to lament as if thou hast suffered great harm thyself, and then cover his body according to the custom. Neglect not his burial.
Right. Okay.
Right. So my whole point I was really trying to bring out, man, we gotta endure to the end. If we want to prolong our life, we gotta look at our life from the physical, spiritual, and mental dynamic, because they all tie in with each other. Your gut tie in with your mind, the depression. We was talking about this earlier.
Right.
If your GI tract ain't getting the right nutrients, then your endocrine system ain't getting the right supply it need to make hormones like oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin. And we got to really pay attention to how we reward ourselves with our reward system. Start creating new habits with your old habits. They say it takes 28 days to get used to a new habit. And when I say that, I mean talking about stuff like entertainment, you know what I'm saying? Because whatever you entertain yourself, maintain in your mind, man. You feel what I'm saying? Entertainment. So we really got to be mindful of things like that when we watching. Because that's the same thing as what we eating. It's part of your senses, you know what I'm saying? Because even what we listening to, I've been cutting back on like even listening to trap music, all kind of things, because of even the herbs that they played at. They play a whole lot in your mind. Think about how the world was created off of sound first, and vibrations. Mozart said this, he said that, and then we got light. But that light real effective. The light travel way faster than the sound. So what we watching, what we listening to, be very mindful, because we is still a vessel at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So if the Most High, the Ruach HaKodesh ain't maintaining in you, what is maintaining in you? You know what I'm saying? So you gotta breathe in a good breath of life through Yahoo. So I'm gonna holler at y'all.
All right.
Sit down.
All right. All right. Hallelujah. Good food for thought.
Oh yeah.
All right. All right. Where did our read go? Oh, how you gonna ask questions sitting way back there?
Okay, better wake up, and we all gotta be woke.
All right. So questions. Who got something? What we gonna deal with?
I got a question.
Okay. There we go. What's your name, sister?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Ruby Good, and I'm next.
Oh, Josiah. Moray Josiah.
Josiah Active.
Right. Oh, I thought that was you.
And then we invited you, so I'm happy.
Glad to see you.
I really like the presentation. What's your name, brother?
AJ.
But if you have the presentation, and I feel like the reason why we are in most of that we are in that spirit is a lack of knowledge. And I feel like in the past, our ancestors, the Most High, they blessed them. We had the whole body, we have physicians among our rabbis, among Not Negligent, like you said, the Most High giving instruction on how to heal and maintain the whole body, the whole mind, and everything. So we did have the whole thing set up for us. And unfortunately, we were ungrateful. Many
Right.
times over, we rebel against the Most High. Many times over, we don't even appreciate all these nice things that we have because we are we were one of the blessed people because the scripture says, blessed is the people that become around you. That's how people used to call it back then when they used to speak to Congo, they used to call slavery, the Most High. Blessed is the people that the Most High is their Elohim. And we didn't even know that because we're just like you have a kid at home. You provide everything for that kid. Oh, I want to be just like the other kid. Really? By the time you be all these other kids, it's so hard. You can even come back. I'm sometimes even forgot who we are. But my point is, I'm wondering. I'm doing some check. I like the fact. I got some disease myself, like I got high blood pressure, and I am not a part of big pharma because of what it represents, because of the states and all the things that they represent, and who they work for, and how they do witchcraft to blind us. And then when we see that kind of stuff, how that medicine, that doesn't help. It doesn't, oh, I'm going to give you some more. But in the past, the Most High, when we heal, we go to the priest, and then the Most High instructed the priest what needs to be done. They knew exactly what needs to be done, and try to treat whatever ailment we had. So right now, we are lost. We are in captivity. We kind of lost who we were. We try to get back, but we don't have the whole picture. How do we get back to what we have? Because I am tired. I don't like big pharma. I'm not a part of their vaccine. I'm not a part of it. But at some point, it's so hard. Like last night, I had to go to register. But they couldn't help me. So he just read it to write, my son, if you speak, pray to the Most High, and he will heal you. But we need to know how to do that thing. And if you were to be in a family, how do you get back? That's the holistic approach. How do we this point? How do we help each other get better spiritually, mentally, physically? Nobody gonna teach us that. So they come around it because there's knowledge there. They kept it. They have books there. All these things. They kept it away from. They kept us away from it. But in Papa Zambia, the Most High, the Most High revealed again. He said to us, so we can get this because we, among us, a lot of us are suffering from depression. I mean, all these things, and maybe sometimes the roots of it is sins. Maybe sometimes the roots of it is because we don't clean our GI system, just like years before. Or there's a spirit that just keep us blinded and we don't know what to do. So, as the people that's trying to keep the law, as the people that trying to please the Most High, how do we, impact those things as a community? I mean, I can come here and get healed and get counsel, and you bring something to the table, she brings something to the table, and we all can benefit from it. So, should we pray? Should we fast? Very should we. Because he's still serving the mighty one. He's not the God of the dead. He's the God of the living. He is the power of Abana, of Abraham, Isaac. He's still the same God we serve. The God of the King of the old earth. And we sing like that. Something is not. It's not him. It's us. It's me. So how do we keep it alive? How does it bring things to life? Because I am tired of it. Because I'm serving a great God, and I'm like that. Something is wrong with me. So we just, as a people, my thing is, how do we become physicians? How do we become counselors? How do we help heal each other? Because we are broken as people. I don't care where we come from. Wherever we stand, we're broken. We've been beaten by the same things. I don't care if you're in Africa. I'm from Haiti myself, Jamaica. As the people of the Muslim, the DNA of the Muslims, they know us. So we've been through that. So it's time for us to gather together and heal and start the healing right here. And then we can go back and be brothers because we are sick as a people. Mentally, physically, spiritually. I want that.
Yeah.
How to get back to it,
Yes,
in
please.
my opinion, how to get back to it, because we really do have to do a reset. Almost like what we did here.
Yes, ma'am.
And we have to get back to the same diet
Exactly.
that we were given.
Yes, ma'am.
And then that's how we reset ourselves. And we get them pureed food or pureed vegetables, we try not to give them the heavy stuff. They don't start telling you this solid stuff for years, but well, you just don't listen to that. But we do need to get back to a plant-based diet.
Not really, yes.
And
I will do it. You don't know. It's just like,
Yeah.
it's hidden, and it's hidden, and it's hidden knowledge. So it's a people, one of us got a type of knowledge, and you multiply it, and
so I was just telling you,
yes, and you multiply it, and then you, this one does research, and then you just put it together, because we need to be the healthy people, because we're gonna have to go to the desert, we're gonna have to go to the, we have to go back to the Exodus, so we need to be healthy from now.
See,
Right now, we start.
I personally think it ain't no, I don't think it's as hidden as we think, because all we gotta do is really pay attention to nature. Like, we know what we should be eating. Like, if you look in nature and look at animals, carnivores, we not physically made up like a carnivore is. An animal got those long canine teeth, and their intestinal tract is shorter than ours, because the most I know, meat don't survive in the body. Our intestinal tract like 32 feet, you feel what I'm saying? So when the meat sit up in there, it start to ferment and create diseases. So we know for sure we not meant to eat meat like that. Also, when those animals, those meat eating animals, when they eat their meat, they don't cook it, put, you feel me, spices and oil, you know what I'm saying? They eat it alive, because that's how they get their nutrients through the blood. But we know for sure we don't supposed to be putting blood in us anyway. You feel what I'm saying? So really, meat eating came through us doing sacrifices. That was really the most account that you really see when we eat meat, but it was still a certain type of way, since we ain't got no control, especially how this going down. The animals ain't getting snuck up on like they were supposed to be, or the blood drained, you know what I'm saying? So now we eating the hormones that's transferred energy that they felt before they died,
Right.
the sad, the depression. So now we get sad and depressed. You know what I'm saying? We taking on animalistic traits, and it's so animalistic to now. You feel me? We call each other animals. Like, you know, back in the day, they call a female chicken head, or they call your vagina a cat. You know what I'm saying? We just, you feel what I'm saying? We put the animalistic nature on ourselves. But if we did pay attention to nature, you see how certain animals only eat to the food that's according to their region. A gorilla don't eat the same thing polar bear eat. Polar bear don't eat the same thing grizzly bear eat. You know what I'm saying? And a hummingbird don't eat the same thing a vulture eat. So what's going on is, when we do Sankofa and we go back to understanding where the region that we came from, and we look at, say for example, our anatomy resemble much like gorillas and monkeys, which are frugivores. Look at our teeth structure. You know what I'm saying? Nah, not even so much herbivores. Cause look at horses. You ain't got the teeth that a horse has got to break down and keep chewing on the cellulose that come from the vegetation. You feel what I'm saying? See, vegetation, that's just for healing. That's what herbs is. You feel? But as far as eating, that's fruits. See, herbivores, they on all fours and they necks long to reach down to the ground to eat the vegetation. You know what I'm saying? We stand up right because we meant to
Yes, right.
pick fruit out of trees, like in the Garden of Eden. So really, I think when I pay attention to the scripture and see all the testimonies, like how everything lined up and all the events, every prophet and priest that we had, it was a doorway to us trying to get back to Eden, to the Garden of Eden in a sense. You feel what I'm saying? With every priest that we had, and like that's what I'm starting to realize, and I'm reading more about like our disciples that we had after Yahshua died, and the lifestyle that they lived.
But one thing we do know, that everything about this heathenistic culture that we were born into here, it leads to death, really. You know, like for instance, you know, we were taught to eat 3 meals a day, and most of the meals, well, even breakfast, other than if you would just eat cereal, but they all have meat and all. I was an adult before I realized that you didn't have to have meat for it to be a meal. You know, I was raised up thinking it ain't no meal unless you got some kind of meat in it
They want people to eat.
or something. Yeah, there ain't no meal. You need some beans and rice and
Steak.
whatever. No, I'm just saying without the steak.
Without the steak.
That ain't no meal. You know, that's part of our condition. I want you to read something else. Something she said made brought this to me. Because this here is also very important. This is in Mark, the 9th chapter. Mark, the 9th chapter. And start this off at the 17th verse.
Mark 9 and 17.
Uh-huh.
It's Mark 9 and 17. And one of the multitude answered and said, Master, I have brought unto you my son, which have a dumb spirit. And wheresoever he take him, he tear him. And he foaming and gnashed with his teeth and pineth away. And I spake to your disciples that they should cast him out, and they could not. He answered him and said, O faithless generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him unto me. And they brought him unto him. And when he saw him, straightway the spirit tear him. He fell on the ground and wallowed, foaming. And he asked his father, how long is it ago since this came unto him? And he said, of a child. And of oft times it has cast him into the fire and into waters to destroy him. But if thou can do anything, have compassion on us and help us.
Right. So when I read this goes into what you were bringing out earlier concerning how these spirits, we are beset by these spirits, and they are absolutely real entities. So here the spirit is playing around with this young man. And when you got this happening, it don't just affect the young man, it affects the whole family, it affects the whole community and everybody about them.
They scratched out body too. They
Oh,
scratched
yeah.
out body. Yeah.
Which does what? Brings forth more spirits.
Right.
More spirits, more sickness, more distress. Nobody knows how to deal with it, especially nowadays. These days, we don't be realizing that, like the scripture says, we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but spiritual wickedness in high places, Like this brother called me up, I have attitude with the brother, man. Like what, I'll just use that for example. But then I have attitude. My attitude comes because I'm allowing the spirit to deal with me. But then he don't realize it, so he take it personally against me. You got a whole bunch of confusion. But in understanding that it don't be me, it be the spirit that I'm dealing with that's causing me to react like that, causing me to say stuff that I say or whatever. So this right here, it falls right in line because this is a young innocent man or whatever, but the stuff he's doing, he ain't doing the stuff that he chooses to do. He choosing stuff because there's a spirit that's making him do that. Go ahead.
23. Yahshua said unto him, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believe. And straightway the father of the child cried out and said with tears, Master, I believe. Help thou mine unbelief. When Yahshua saw that the people came running together, he rebuked the foul spirit, saying unto him, thou dumb and deaf spirit, I charge you, come out of him and enter no more into him.
Ain't that what you just said?
Right.
You're talking directly
to the sickness. Yeah.
Right.
And the spirit cried out and rent him sore and came out of him. And he was as one dead. And so much that many said he is dead.
Right.
But Yahshua took him by the hand and lifted him up, and he arose. And when he was coming to the house, his disciples asked him privately, why could not we cast him out? And he said unto them, this kind can come forth by nothing but prayer and fasting.
This is what you said. You mentioned that earlier. The prayer and fasting. But that's part of the prayer and the fasting comes from what? Comes from our belief. because first of all, they thought in some kind of way that it was because of them. Why couldn't we do it? Well, it ain't really you. You don't have the power to do it. By prayer and fasting, the Father uses us as a vessel.
Which explains why he was fasting so much. He fasted 40 days and 40 nights.
Yeah.
Because it's closer to the Most High.
Sure did. Matter of fact, and in reading that, not only him, but Shemaiah, Moses, they both did it more than once. They didn't just do it once. They did it more than once because, because they understood the power just the whole dynamic of being, because what I learned even through the keeping of the Day of Atonement, we keep the Day of Atonement, is that flesh always war against the spirit. It war against the spirit. It's almost impossible to increase physically and spiritually at the same time. When you put that flesh away and focus on the spiritual, we observe the Day of Atonement, we get deeper to these scriptures. You don't even think about being hungry, and I'm sure that's how they were when they did 40 days or whatever, being filled with that spirit and the understanding that the Father brings when you're depriving yourself of that flesh. And if you experience it, you experience it. I know I experience it, especially when we do it on the Day of Atonement. It's like you get spiritually fed. And so that's why he said these things can only come through prayer and fasting. You ain't gonna be walking around here a glutton or whatever you think that you can do what the Father had you to do. It don't even work like that. But even as a people, before I forget, unlike this culture right here, we just didn't have meat in our meals, everything we had. We didn't eat meat every day. Well, yeah, that's what he was dealing with.
Was it once a year or something?
No, I can't say what it was specifically. All I know is that it just wasn't the everyday. Say it again?
That's what I'm telling him. You have to bury that blood. It has to be killed or something.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the blood got to be buried in the ground or whatever. Right. But that's what he was talking about, how it had to be killed a certain way. So if you don't kill it the ceremonious way, and the way that they do or not being processed in them places or whatever, then you are absolutely getting the fear and all the other.
So does that go back to what Yeshua said when he came off his 40-day fast with the Satan tempting him? He said, if you were, really who you say you are, turn these stones into bread, he said, a man should not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth.
And that's why he loves to eat. He loves food.
Yeah, they call him a drinker.
Yeah, he loves his food.
Yeah.
Right.
When he had to go and,
Correct.
separate himself from that, he knew what he had to do.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So that's something that we all could absolutely work on, because it's we don't even know the extent of what the Father has blessed us in terms of our gifts, but all things are possible through Him, and much prayer and much fasting, and we can do a whole lot of things.
But look at some of the position, as he mentioned, what type of position? Has he like a position like the regular position that we see?
I believe he was.
Yeah.
I don't think they use the term physician the way they use it now, or doctor, like Dr. J, and Dr.
How many is that?
So he was like a regular position?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. I don't believe it was like, he's a doctor in writing or a doctor in sociology, doctor. Yeah, exactly. So a physician, by definition, is one that heals the body.
True physician.
Right.
Not no cappers. No. Treating symptoms.
All right.
What was it over? You don't really treat the actual problem.
Because it ain't profitable to them, huh? Oh
By the end
man.
of the week, you be half dead.
But I do know with the high blood pressure, and I just read this because I'm in this group, which I think that being a part of certain groups, knowledge is leaked without really knowing who's in the group. So I tend to hear and say nothing, so the lady was in, I don't know if she's a physician assistant or whatever she is. And she said, and it was a post on Facebook, and she said, doctors don't tell you that, when they're giving you blood pressure medication, they tell you not to eat grapefruit. Because grapefruit will affect the blood pressure medication. It will help the symptoms, as you say. It'll help bring your blood pressure down, but what actually makes your blood pressure what it is, it absolutely has a lot to do with the additives in the foods and then your lifestyle.
So real healing, I guess the start of us even having this type of knowledge is elimination. You know what I'm saying? Like Revelation said, come out from among her, receive like a plague. So get what everybody in the world tasting the delicacies of Babylon, America. You know what I'm saying? But guess what? We still got red dye 40, mono dye glyceride, all kind of yellow fives in our food. Not only what we in our food, but how we cook it too. On the Teflon of your skillet, you got a chemical in there called C8, and it affect your brain. You know what I'm saying? And feed them same parasites that spit out pheromones.
So same thing with aluminum foil.
Right, you know what I'm saying? And get what? I got aluminum and mercury in my mouth. They stopped doing that with the fillings,
They
but
do. I went to my dentist and I asked her to remove mine.
I'm getting mine removed.
And she said, why? Like, she was like against it. I'm like, because I want it.
I'm gonna be, even just talking about Dennis, I'm all about, taking care of, my dental hygiene as best as I can, using what the Father gives us.
Right.
And just talking to some of the dental assistants themselves, there are things that I was really against. And so, they had told me in secret somebody that I should go to that is more into holistic.
Right.
And it's almost like these are things that people don't want other people to hear, because they look at it as, against their practice. They can't really do that. And then it's just like, when it comes to preventive therapy, they want to talk about it, but they don't really want to initiate preventive therapy when it comes to it. But it's also, too, it's not just the physician, but it's also the mindset of the people themselves.
Mhm.
They come to doctors wanting to heal.
Right.
And so we, as the people, have to understand everything is not a quick fix because of a pill. When it came to, medicine, what I was taught was that all medicine was derived from plant-based. And when I started looking at the ingredients, it's more and more chemical
Right.
than it is plant-based.
Right.
So it has gone away from that. Then they look at, plants are not FDA approved,
Right.
FDA approved, but then if all medication that are FDA approved are derived from plant-based, so why isn't it?
Yeah.
So, that was always a contradiction, in itself. So, but it's just knowing that sometimes taking too much can lead to a certain adverse event, even a plant itself.
Yeah.
So we have to, understand that, that there is a certain, and that's what we, when it comes to back in the past, people who were more of, holistic, physicians, they understand,
Right.
When it came to the herb, what was the right amount.
Right.
Because too much of something could have a bad effect.
Yeah.
So it's about understanding that. It's just like, food, we can eat too much of it.
Right.
So we have to, really look at that as well.
Yeah.
We're not going overboard.
That's why the herb is not for consumption, they're only for elimination purposes.
Yeah.
That's how herbs work, because You know what I'm saying? You might take burdock root, that's a diuretic. That's just gonna trigger you peeing. Other herbs gonna trigger you throwing up, but it's just for elimination and it's totality to get rid of toxins. You feel what I'm saying? But if you ain't got nothing going on, ain't no purpose for you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Only thing you should be eating is things with H3O2 in it. You feel me? Which is fruits. That water right there came from the Most High, not the bottled water that been processed by the Gentiles. But watermelon, coconut. That's why they say nigga love a watermelon. You know what I'm saying? But
The one that I see,
say it again.
the one that I see,
Right, seeded. That's why I say herb. I mean seed bearing fruit. Right. Right.
I don't do those that have
Right.
GMO.
Yeah, I go see it over that.
Yes, only seeded fruits. Because some watermelons will have no seed. I don't like that.
Yeah, all the grocery stores sell them,
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's man, the stuff that I said one good rule of thumb as far as your food is that if it got something on it that you can't pronounce, you shouldn't be eating it.
So I'm to the point. I see a label. Period.
Yeah.
Anything that come in the package. No, you feel? I'm in the produce section. That's my first stop.
Man.
Nowhere.
We can always tell people concerning my own testimonies that it's that I have an autoimmune disorder, and I was taught through having an autoimmune disorder, And matter of fact, I suffered from it real big time when you came down here 11 years ago. When you came down here, and it's a thing called iritis. I might have told y'all about this, but for the sake of her and people online, the iritis is this horrible condition that affects your eyes. It's autoimmune, and it's like pink eye time 1,000. It felt like a fork was being jammed in your eye. And she saw me be literally in a fetal position on the ground because it's suffering real bad. Oh yeah, well yeah, you can't see. Yeah, the eyesight is gone. I thought I would never be able to see again.
Well, the doctor said that too. He said, I asked the doctor, when his vision come back? He said, I don't know.
Right, it was pretty bad. And so what they do is that they prescribe steroid drops. Very expensive. They do a little bitty thing like that. You only probably got about 6, 7 drops in it. A little expensive,
6 or 7.
Huh?
So 6 or
Oh,
7.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. Yeah, it's a small little thing. Look like you get about 6 or 7 drops out of it. But have you seen them before? The steroid drops that people might get for their eyes. You seen them before? I forgot the proper name for it, but yeah, they'd be the little drop. Anyway, right. But don't be no bottle like Visine or nothing. It'd be in a small.
Maybe like 5 ml.
Right.
About 5 ml.
Right.
3 to 5. About 5 ml.
Right.
So that would be about. You got 20 drops per ml.
Okay.
But most time I calculate about 15 or 16.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's not that much.
So I had to do my own research to figure out, because I know that being that we were made from the earth.
Well, I was taking the homeopathic from my thyroid when it came down.
Okay.
So that's when we said we were going to go homeopathic.
Right.
For iritis.
Right.
Which is what we did.
Yeah. So
What
yeah.
you did.
Right. So I, researched it because everything the Father made on this earth can heal everything. That's just period, the bottom line. But that's what the physician was trained to give us specifically for anything like that.
Right.
So I looked it up anyway. Praise the Most High for internet. And there's these 2 herbs. One is called belladonna. Heard of that? Belladonna? Yeah. The other one's called Fraser. And I had so I went to Whole Foods and they got the little herb, little section up there. They have them in these little pellets, yeah. But then I found out later that this company called Simulicin, how you pronounce it? They make the eye drops, Simulicin, something like that. You can buy it at Walgreens,
Oh.
and you can buy it at Target. And there's this, not, they call it natural, but it has those same two ingredients in it. I took them things, knocked it out. Good. And then, but here's the funny part about it. When we was in Orlando, we had went to a restaurant, which was, what's that? Pollo Tropical. It was one night we went there in Orlando, and I had got
Oh, yeah.
some pop. I was still drinking my pop. Yeah. And you know, all pop here in America, the big ones, all got that high fructose corn syrup in them. And so this one I had it, I just drunk some, flamed it. Blam! Flamed it. Like, now, man, that high fructose corn syrup, which is something that should be banned. Nobody should ever have that, ever. But see, you go somewhere like to third world countries, you go to Mexico and get you a Coca-Cola, it ain't got no high fructose corn syrup in it. Go to any of these countries, a Coca-Cola is illegal in the countries. They don't allow, some countries don't allow GMOs, we don't allow high fructose corn syrup, we don't allow none of that stuff. Some countries are like that. Right, quote unquote third world, quote unquote underdeveloped countries. Right. Same thing that we can speak about concerning Tanzania. Because for the past, how long have I been looking at Tanzania? Well, the thing is that one of our brothers, he moved there over a year ago. About a year and a half ago. Read, every time he comes, he reads for me. But he's been over there over a year ago, right? And so when he was there, the president that was there, which was, he died under suspicious causes.
Yeah.
Oh, so he's right. But this dude here, he was like, look, I'm not allowing no shots or whatever, so-called vaccines. I'm not allowing that. You fly into the airport, they say, take that mask off, throw that mask in the garbage, okay? Now, see, to hear about it from here, we hear about it ignorantly, be like, oh, well, they don't know no better, this, that, the other.
No.
But the great thing about YouTube is that we were able to see the live people day to day in the streets of Dar es Salaam and other cities there, and they packed in the streets, and they had not had the effects of COVID the way these other countries have had. Why? Because first of all, they get a lot of sun, which comes with vitamin D. Their diet is more natural. I mean, that food related. I've seen the videos of how they market to be with all just natural. They sometimes they might not even eat a plate of food. They just eating, like you was just saying, vegetables. The whole diet is like that.
From Haiti, she said the same thing. She used to go home. You know, I used to just eat a mango. That would be her dinner.
Yes, yes.
That was her dinner.
Yes.
I was like, what?
The best one.
Yeah.
Yes.
She said that was her dinner.
But that was like that when I was in the Bahamas. People would just walk in and they just grab something and
Right,
and they just
right.
eat it.
And coconut.
And it,
You
and
know,
their
get somebody to feed it for me.
Right.
and their desserts was not sweet at all. A lot of sugar. They didn't use a lot of sugar.
Say a lot of sugar
Yeah, they didn't use a lot
No,
of
it's
sugar.
not.
They
No,
desserts
it's
and stuff like
or
that.
artificial sugar.
Don't say, but I didn't use pepper.
No, I'm just saying, no, but just knowing that the system we in is not really conducive to good health just off the bat. But in terms of everything, it's all about going back to the Most High, going back to His nature, going back to His creation, and understand that just like what you brought out, hallelujah for that, concerning just the spiritual aspects of sicknesses. These are not just, haphazard things. They all come by reason of sin, transgression,
What in other
and
books,
lack of faith. But go ahead.
there was other books, and I don't know if this was in the book of Maccabees, I can't remember, but Tobiah.
Yeah, to buy it with the fish oil.
Yeah, it was
He
an
got
angel.
blinded, right,
The angel came because it was a death angel around the woman who controlled.
right. He didn't want her to
Oh,
marry
yeah,
nobody, right.
The death angel, well, that angel, whatever, but didn't want her to get married to nobody. So he said,
And it wasn't that, there was, you call him an angel, but it was really a demon,
It was a
really,
demon, yeah.
a spirit.
Yeah, it was a demon. And the angel that was with Tobiah told him to take the gall and something else out of that fish,
Fish, right.
bring it back, and the stench from that.
Made it fled away. Yeah. But you know what? Boy, Ezekiel, most I told Ezekiel be eating the fire bread, and right?
Yeah.
Deuteronomy 28:4, they say,
Uh-oh, somebody missing. Somebody missing.
so Deuteronomy 28:4, they say we're gonna be serving them in hunger, thirst, and nakedness.
Right.
For a long time, I always wondered why in the law the Most High told us not to mix fabrics. But since we serving people in our nakedness, we get our clothes from them. Yeah, I got two. So we get our clothes from them, and it's mixed fabrics within it. You feel what I'm saying? Even synthetic fabrics like polyester. But when it comes to certain things like herpes, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Now you got different forms of herpes, but a lot of people think herpes is a sexually transmitted disease. It's really not, you know what I'm saying? Because if it's so, how the first person got herpes, you know what I'm saying? So it comes from a hemorrhoid, but hemorrhoid react to certain herpes is the same thing as eczema. It's the same hemorrhoid,
It's
you know.
also the same as pimples.
Pimples, right? Pimples and shingles, you know what I'm saying? Itchy elbow disease. So when you wear certain fabrics, you know what I'm saying? Like I got on a bad fabric right now though, but you know what I'm saying? It rub against your skin a certain way and make that same hemorrhoid react, and that's what it causes. You know what I'm saying? Even with fake jewelry, cubicle zirconia, is that the name for the? Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? Those certain metals, if it ain't pure gold, you know what I'm saying?
Ain't no wrong with you.
No, it's something wrong with it.
It's the tin and the metal.
The nickel, yeah, the nickel.
Right, the nickel and
But
the
those
metal.
metals shouldn't be on us or in us, just like
But
that
that's not
mercury and the
metal,
aluminum.
though. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
but just like the mercury and the aluminum, man, these certain things don't belong in or on us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the whole time they come down to the fabric too when they say we serving them in nakedness.
But it's just and then interesting that you brought up that Deuteronomy 28 because I'm thinking of Deuteronomy 28 is that Deuteronomy 28 verse I'm just looking at it. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You say thirst and nakedness and the one. Oh, 28 and 61 when he says 59. 59. That's what I was thinking about too.
Said 28, 59.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, then when we read,
Yeah, read it.
then Yahuwah will make thy plagues wonderful, and the plagues of thy seed, even great plagues and long counsel, and of long counsel, continuance,
Yep.
and sore sickness, and of long continuance. Moreover, he will bring upon you all the diseases of Mizraim, which thou was afraid of, and they shall cleave unto you. Man, they cleave unto you. Also every sickness and every plague which is not written in the book of this law, them will Yahuwah bring upon you until that be destroyed.
Now, when you think real deep about that dynamic there, part of that goes to something that you said earlier, because we are not in our land. So people in the land that they're from, just like what you say, have a diet conducive to them. If you be removed from there, now you have to make do with what that diet is. But being in this land that was for our affliction, when we subject ourselves to whatever we were fed, it's like the pigs, all that stuff, right? See, we on this plantation, and we was used to eating all that stuff. But then that African come over here on the plantation, and they're like, y'all eat that? No, oh no. No, and we laughing at him, laughing like, oh, he don't know no better. Even Matthew
Oh, man.
don't know no better. But he knows better than we do. Because now we subject to all of this plague that the Father said He's going to bring upon us. So you got sin, because the only reason why we're over here, and this is the thing that really been on me for a minute now, is that the only reason why we're here is because of sin. There's no other reason why we're here but sin. But so we read this also, and when people read Deuteronomy 2:8, they be thinking it's the Father zapping the people. But it's not necessarily the Father zapping the people. All of these things that came upon us is a direct result of our actions. Right. But I'm saying people think it's like, oh, that's what you're doing? Bam. Oh, that's what you're gonna do? Bam. No,
Really, you zapping yourself.
Right. That's what I'm going. That's what I mean. You bring it upon yourself. Because everything the Father commanded us to do was for our benefit. But just like today, we don't got sense enough to know that, because that's the reason why I ain't got no problem eating this fried pork chop. Because it's delicious, it's good. And all I care about is that it's delicious and good. And they told me it was the other white meat. See? So, lack of knowledge, my people perish for lack of knowledge.
It's funny, I was on that Facebook this morning, and because I was, chatting with somebody, and they were talking about how I ignored information about, the whole jab and all that stuff. And I was like, I'm not ignoring the information. I'm not ignoring anything. What I'm simply saying is, you can't run from death. That's one. Nobody's gonna be able to run from that. So that's that. And two, nothing we do is going to change. Nothing we take is going to change how we are.
Hey, how you doing?
Because that jab will never bring us back to normal, because we're continuing to do the things that destroy the planet. We fish our waters until the waters are no good. We farm the land until there's no minerals left.
Right.
We kill the animals until they're extinct. We cut down trees until the air is polluted. We're destroying the earth.
Right.
And that is a direct result of why we have all these pandemics and endemics.
When you say we, are we among it? Because these things really,
No. I mean,
See, that's a subject we can talk about. You say Esau.
Yeah.
Nah, we okay. But you know what? Hold up for a second. I know this is another topic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna mention it right. I'm gonna mention this right now. I'm just gonna mention this right now. And then if you can stay right here for a minute, I want to read something.
Okay.
The white man is not Esau.
Esau is mingled with other races because.
Well, see, here's the thing though. You can't really mingle like that, because the father carries a seed. So whatever your father is, that's what you are. Whatever his father is, that's what he is. See, that's a doctrine that came through something, but we can deal with that in a few minutes. Matter
I
of
think you're
fact,
talking about a physical mingling though. That might be so for a physical mingling, but spiritually, like, you know what I'm saying, they were fornicating with them.
no. Well, no, no. If you're gonna say spiritually, we're all subject to spiritually. So you can't do that. You can't deal with spiritually like that, because all of us are subject to it spiritually. But I want to read something real quick on that. But before we read that, I want to read Revelation 13 chapter that brings this to mind concerning this, just that food for thought. Y'all know where I'm at. Revelation 13 chapter.
He said, you kind of know what I mean.
Yeah, they always, every time we read this, it always astounds me.
I was like, they be on the street. You know what I want? No, bro, what you want? You know what I want.
But actually, there's a Hebrew skit. They give you the Hebrew skit. You know what I want. Bro, you know what I want. Right. You know why? Right. Revelation 13 chapter though. Look at this though.
On top.
Oh man, where is that? No, not 13, 11. I'm sorry. It's 11. Yeah, 11. I'm sorry, 11.
Revelation 11.
And pick this up in verse 15. Man. It's just one of these parts of this letter that just truly astounds me, but it points to what time to live with this people.
Talking about 11:15 Revelation.
Yep.
All right.
Revelation 11:15.
Yep.
Mhm.
All right, go ahead.
Hallelujah.
And the seventh angel sounded. Oh, I got to flip. You know, I be ashy though. It's just
That's what it is, man. You got the stuff right there.
Yeah, I need to hit it up one time. Okay, let's see him. Yes, sir. And there were great voices in heaven saying, "The kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our master and of his Hamashiach. He shall reign forever and ever." And the 24 elders were set before Elohim on their seat, fell upon their faces, and worshiped Elohim, saying, "We give you thanks, O Yahuwah, Elohim Almighty, which art and was and ought to come, because thou hast taken to you thy great power and hast reigned. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come in the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou should give reward unto the servants of the prophets, and the servants of the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and should destroy them."
Now, hold on for a second.
Oh,
Now, this is something that's deep here. It says, in verse 17, it says, verse 15, it says, "The seven angels sounded, and there was a great voice in heaven, saying, The kingdoms of this world are become the kingdom of our master, of his Messiah, and he shall reign forever and ever." So, one thing, and it just came to me based off what you were just talking about, Tom, there, is that the kingdoms of the world have their own way. And you were using the example of how we're dealing with this COVID thing, right? And you're ignoring the vaccine, this, that, the other, right? First of all, one thing that you got to understand is that you got to be contrary to the kingdoms of this world by process of just even looking at this. You either got to go the way of the kingdoms of the world and be part of that system, or you're going to be part of in the kingdom of the Most High. You're going to either trust in the world and what they're going to tell you how to get over this disease, this pestilence, this pandemic, this pandemic.
Okay.
Or
Come on now.
so he says, the kingdoms of this world are now become the kingdom. And I like that because see, I was always talking, I was going to go to heaven. But he said the kingdoms of this world are become, meaning they were not the same kingdoms doing their own unrighteous things. They had to now be subject to a whole new world order, which is the old world order, you know. But they wasn't. But that's deep, right? Ain't that what it says in Daniel when it
I
says?
was just reading that.
What? Read what?
Well, about the image of the
Well, no, I'm specifically it says, and the kingdoms under the whole heaven was given to the saints of the Most High. That they
What
should,
verse is that again?
huh?
What verse?
That I just quoted?
Yeah, like just said, the kingdom of the
Oh, well, this is we in Revelation 11 chapter.
Oh, she's talking about Daniel.
Oh, and Daniel.
Oh.
Well, right now, no, right
oh
now
no, Revelation.
we're in Revelation
15.
11 and 15. And I reference in Daniel, I think that's Daniel. Is that what that is?
I think it's the second chapter. Come on now.
It might be 8. And the kingdoms under the whole heaven. Oh, that's at 7. I'm sorry. 7.
Oh, 27.
And at 25, it said that he should speak great words against the Most High and should wear out the saints of the Most High and think to change times and laws and they shall be given to him to the time, and dividing time. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion to consume and destroy unto the end. Because again, his dominion is the dominion of the kingdoms, right? You can't be under that dominion. 27 said, and the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey it. So you see, they saying the same thing, right? That's what the kingdom of heaven is. It's right here on this earth where is reigning. But going back to that 11, it says, verse 16, and the 24 elders were set before Elohim on their seats, fell upon their face and worship Elohim, saying, we give thanks, O Yahuwah Elohim Almighty, which art, was, and art to come, because thou hast taken to thee thy great power and hast reigned. And guess what? And the nations were angry. The nations were angry. See, it was 1,000 years before. No, I don't want to put, no, this is still in the same dynamic. Matter of fact, a few days before actually, they were passing gifts one to another. Because the two witnesses were killed. The two witnesses, which were not part of this kingdom, were preaching the truth. A truth that will cause you to be killed and persecuted. They were passing gifts one to another. But now that they see the real power come, they're angry. And thy wrath has come, and the time of the dead that they should be judged, that thou shalt give reward unto the servants, the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name. Real quickly, since I'm looking at that, what is a biblical definition of saint? But I'm going to give y'all a clue though. It's something in Revelations that talk about the saints. Here is the patience of the saints. Revelation 14 and 12, right? Those that keep the commandments of Yah and have the faith in Yahshua. Right.
Say on 14 and 12?
Yeah, Revelation 14 and 12.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm going to come back to this, though.
Keep the commandments of Elohim and the faith of Yahshua.
Right.
So they're the ones going to be marching in.
Right.
That's
right.
They said the commandments and the faith of Yahshua.
In conjunction.
Yeah.
Well, no, but it separates. It says the commandments of Elohim and the faith of Yahshua.
Well, yeah.
So, but see, that's important because people think that the Son got different commandments from the Father.
Right.
But there, you want you to know that it's time when it says God is talking about the Father.
Right.
See that? So I like that.
Well, what were you about to say? Because it
No, like that, and there's non-Messianic people. There's just so
yeah,
many people
correct.
that
And you've been getting on
Correct.
that tail lately.
people
Correct.
that God Torah, but it's all together. It's not just one and the other.
But you know what? Here's the interesting about it. It's just my thought. Because I thought about the two witnesses. Because right now, everybody is concerned about this vaccine and how it relates to tomorrow. But we also know that scripturally there's going to be these two witnesses that are going to do what they have to do. Whoever is still alive at that time, when them two witnesses do whatever they're going to do, if you're not a Messiah at that point, you don't have no excuse. If that makes sense. I'm denying the Messiah. Hey, I don't need the Messiah. All I need is to keep these commandments. And then I see these two witnesses come up, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, John prophesied these two witnesses? And they definitely going to be talking about Yahshua because they're the same witnesses that John, the servant or disciple, was talking about. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you won't have no excuse at that time to deny Messiah at that time. But that's another lesson, though. I'm going, so.
Okay.
Right. But anyway, going back to this 11 real quick, 11th chapter. Verse 18, the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and a time of death that they should be judged, and that thou should give reward unto the prophets and to the saints and them that fear thy name, small and great, and should destroy them which destroy the earth.
Just like it says in Job chapter 9 verse 24, when she was saying, the wicked are destroying the earth. The earth is in the hands of the wicked.
Right.
9 verse 24.
Right.
It's the same thing we say.
But just think about it though. 2,000 years ago, how were they destroying the earth 2,000 years ago?
That's for us.
Huh? But now check this out though. True that. But if you're gonna look at it from back then, there was a way that they were destroying the earth then. So
Without nuclear power.
Right.
And
this is what she was saying. It's what she was saying. Because when you eat the lobsters, the shrimps, and all them in the water, you pollute the water. You make the water bad. You know, there's a Facebook meme that always trips me out. When they show these two tanks of water, and one of them dirty, and they had the lobsters in it, and it's clean, same water, but the other water without the lobster is still dirty. Because the lobsters kept the water, we're eating them, eating all that. It's like you saying, cut down all the trees, and I think the birds also, because the birds that we don't eat, they fly.
They got the biggest wings.
They got the biggest wings, and when they fly, that helps circulate the air too. See? So not only the trees, but the birds themselves too. When you see them out there doing, that's why when you go out in nature, that's why you see, oh man. But you in the city.
Birds for sport, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
They hunt the animals.
Right. You know, same thing like in Yahshua's day, when we read in the New Testament, they had a farm of pigs there. But we didn't eat them pigs.
No.
We collected all our garbage and threw them over the fence. And the pigs did handle it. That's what that was for. We didn't have incinerators burning up, polluting the air, and all of that. Everything was natural. So when you don't function that way, you're eating what the scripture called unclean, but the scripture also said that everything that the Father created was good.
He had a reason for everything.
Good for whatever he created them for. That pig was good. All the crabs, all of them was good. But not to be put in your body. Good for whatever the Father created them for. But when you eat that, you destroying the earth. You ate that pig that had the job to do what it was created to do, you destroying the earth. So that's just another way of understanding that. So not only, but see, like you say, now we get to the point we're talking about nuclear war and wars and stuff like that. But back in that day, you destroyed the earth with
I feel like everything the Most High says that there's like two poles in it.
Right.
There are two ways.
Right.
Two ways to interpret it.
Right.
My interpretation.
Right.
And there's two poles.
Okay.
The physical and the spiritual.
Yes.
All of
So
it.
and they both work together.
Right. Now I'm going to share a passage with you when we were talking about this now. And the reason I'm sharing this passage, I got a whole lesson on this though, and I want to share that with you on YouTube, and you can check it out.
Okay.
But this passage right here to me was like the kicker, okay? Now, real quickly, when we think about being bought over here in ships into slavery and all, and nations, who were the people that did that?
Well, if you look in some daily print, I think there's a bunch of people that were against us, and they were after the heathen ones. And of course, the Most High let go of us because we
Right.
were so peaceful.
Right, but I'm being really specific though. The people that were on these slave ships that sent us into captivity, who were those people specifically?
Well, I know the Greeks.
Oh, the Greeks.
I know some of those Ismailites. I know some of the Canaanites.
Well, guess what? None of them were part of that. It was only Gentiles.
Okay, the Gentiles.
If all the other people that you're talking about, the Confederacy that you talking about, Psalm 83, they weren't a part of none of that. See the
They
thing,
came after,
huh?
they came after this list, after the slavery thing.
No, they were before.
Oh.
So you make me want to do this whole lesson, but I don't want to do the whole lesson, no. But I just want to share this with you.
Yes,
The Gentiles, the sons of Japhet specifically,
yes.
were the ones that built the ships, put us in, did that. What we call white people.
Tarshish and Kittim.
Right.
Mm.
Now, why? The reason why I'm sharing this with you is this. Go to Deuteronomy 28. This is the reason why I'm sharing this with you.
Deuteronomy 28.
I got a whole lesson on this, but I want to share it with her on so she can see it on YouTube. It says 28 and 32, right? Deuteronomy 28 and 32. Start there, read that.
Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given into another people, and thine eyes shall look and fill with longing for them all the day long. And there shall be no might in your
Now,
hand.
when it says your sons and daughters shall be given unto another people, who's these other people that your sons and daughters are going to be given to?
Not our people,
Huh?
not our people.
When you say not our people, well, who people? Well, we are the people. So it says that your sons and daughters shall be given unto another people. So who's these other people that we given to? Huh?
Well, and then you look at the side,
I'm just saying, but just historically be specific, though. Historically be specific. What's your last name?
Johnson.
Oh, my damn. Your last name is Johnson?
And my grandpa on my mom's side.
On your mom's side?
Yeah, but
Well, you don't look like a Johnson to me.
I am not.
Do you know why I'm saying that?
I wish I could go back to my roots. I think couldn't take you about whatever.
Okay, but my
Don't go.
okay, but my point, but look, if you were given to another people, that means that your name reflects that other people.
That's right.
Johnson is English.
Yes, sir.
We agree with that, right?
That's right.
That's not Edom. That's European.
Okay.
Edom came out the same womb we came out of.
He did.
Huh?
He did, but he just.
No, wait, hold up. No. See, we ain't dealing with that.
Yes,
I'm talking about Edom. There was never a time as Israel, especially it's here that we read in scriptures, that we didn't know who Edom was. Never a time. Watch this. Watch this. What verse we left off at?
We're at 33 right now.
33. Read 33, go ahead.
The fruit of your land and all your labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always.
Sister,
Yes, sir.
a nation which you know not. They never not knew who Edom was. He's talking to them. If they know who any nation is, they know who Edom is. He didn't call Edom out. In fact, he said a nation which neither you nor your father. Your father. We always knew Edom. We never not knew Edom. But the Europeans, the Japhet, we didn't know that. I know we're not racist. We're just dealing with this from a historical dynamic, okay? We accept all who serve the Most High in spirit and truth, but that's what our job is. So I don't want you to get the wrong impression by that. But the sons of Japhet, we didn't know them. The Romans, the Greeks, Germans, English, they were removed into the Caucasoid Mountains. This is Africa. This is what we're reading is taking place in Northeast Africa. Northeast Africa. The Confederates that we read about, Psalm 83, we knew all of them. Edom, Ishmael, Moab, Ammon, we knew them. But see, when I go in my lesson, you will see where the power shifted. Matter of fact, I'm going to read that. I got to read that, y'all.
Psalms.
Well, the answer's in Joel.
Oh, Joel 3?
Right.
Okay, yeah.
But hold up before we go there. It says, the fruit of thy land and all of thy labor shall a nation which you know it's not. So you gotta think who we did not know. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
So that could not be Edom. It could not be Egypt. He would have named them, but if he would have named them then, we'd have been like, who was that? You see what I'm saying? He couldn't give us no name. He could say America. We don't know America. He could say Rome. He could say Javan or Tarshish and all them. They were gone. We did not come into the knowledge of Europeans until Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar. That's when the Gentiles came into power. Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, his kingdom fell to Medo-Persian Empire. We didn't know none of them people until the Father brought them into power. You see what I'm saying? But before they came into power, we knew who we were, didn't we? We were called by our own name. But the name that you are given now are the names of the people that is speaking about here. Like your name is Johnson, but where you come from, you had a lot of what? Baptiste and right, French, right?
French, yeah.
French.
Yeah.
And then the whole Western Hemisphere of the world was occupied by French or ruled over by French, Spain, and English. And in Portugal, right?
Yeah.
Spain, right? But you understand what I'm saying? But see how that fits into this passage here. He couldn't call them out by name because we didn't know them people. He just said, look, people that you don't even know. Speaking a tongue that neither you nor your father understood. Edom spoke the same language we spoke. Because we came out the same womb. Edom is a Hebrew like we're Hebrew. Right. Okay, then look, skip down to the 60, skip down to verse 64.
Verse 64.
Uh-huh.
Yahweh shall scatter you among all people, from the one end of the earth even into the other. And there thou shalt serve other idols, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
Uh-huh. And go ahead.
And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of your foot have rest, but Yahweh shall give you their trembling heart and failing of eyes and sorrow of mind.
Okay, so quickly, let's go in that Psalm. I got one more place after this on the subject. I got a whole rest of them. Like you got to check it out. Okay, Psalm 80, what's that? 83? Yeah. Psalm 83. And what you going back there? Oh, you got my popcorn too there, right? Crap. No, I don't even know why you got that.
So you want?
Yeah.
From the top of 83 Psalms, keep not thou silence, O Elohim, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Elohim. For lo, thine enemies make a ruckus, a tumult, and they that hate you have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against your people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Yahshua may be no more.
So that's the intent of these people that we're reading about, right? Go ahead.
For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against you.
Okay.
The tabernacles of Edom.
Edom is the head of this confederacy. Right, yeah, that's all right. Go ahead.
The Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes, Jabal, Ammon, Amalek. I can't never get that word. The Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Assur also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Say Lot.
Stop. All of these people that's called the Confederate, they are either Shem or they're Ham. No Japhet is in this group. We did not know Japhet. They were gone. We were disassociated from them. They went up to the Caucasoid Mountains And that's where he dwelled until the Father gave them the power to come down and rule over the entire earth. All these people we hear right here are people of color, for lack of a better term. Now, this is where the twist comes in, and that's Joel, the 3rd chapter. But again, the whole lesson, though, is deep. So when I hear people call white people Edom, I'm like, no, that's not Edom. They did not come out the same moon you came out of. Watch this. Joel 3rd chapter. Everybody there?
Oh, y'all quick.
I'm about to get somebody to turn for you, bro. You can still read, but
Let's see here.
Joel 3rd chapter, verse 1.
I got a trick real quick.
3rd chapter, verse 1. Go ahead.
All right, let's do it.
Not, bro, come on, man.
I didn't know you
Man, I can't never find Joel.
It's right after Hosea.
I know it's in the midst of the prophets, ain't it?
No, it's a beginning, like Hosea.
Oh, here go Hosea here.
Joel. You're going too far.
How about you go read
It's a
your,
small book, though.
Right after Hosea, man.
You're right. I do need to read. Okay, where we at? Hosea, Jonah, Obadiah.
There you go. There, come on. There you go.
Uh-oh. I like that encouragement, man. See, look, ain't but 3 chapters. Can't never find that.
Yeah.
Joel
That's
3,
And verse 1.
from the top. For behold, in those days, and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Yahudah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Yisrael, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. They have cast lots for my people and have given a boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they may drink.
Somebody just asked me about that, bro. No, it was during this week or something. But go ahead. Somebody just asked me about it. Go ahead.
Yea, what have you to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coast of Palestine?
Stop.
Question.
And none of y'all asked. I won't see if she knows. When he said, what have you to do with me, O Tyre, Zidon, and all the coast of Palestine? What's another term for them that I just said? No. Psalms 83. These are the same people. Tyre, Zidon, and all the coast of Palestine. We just read them. These are the Confederates. These are the ones that say, let's cut them off from being a people.
Let's erase them.
Right. But watch this though. He said, what have you to do with me, O Tyre? We read him, Zidon, and all the coast of Palestine. Edom, Ishmael, Tyre, Ammon, and all them. That's the coast of Palestine. Philistine, Palestine, that was them too. Now, okay, follow along with you with me. Watch this. Go ahead.
Will ye render me a recompense? And if you recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense on your own head? Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly places.
Watch this.
The children also of Yahudah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians.
The Gentiles.
Whoa.
The white people.
That ye
Now
might
you sold unto the Grecians. That, go ahead, finish that.
that ye might remove them far from their border.
Look, Edom could not have removed us far from our border. They over there. Ishmael could not have did it. Ammon, Tyre, them nations wasn't into the ships like that. He said, we sold you into the Europeans, the Grecians. Why? So that you might remove them far from the border. So that's what they did. We were sold to them. So with them, we were removed far from our border. Does that make sense? Now, you got to listen to the whole lesson. We just read 3 passages here, but you put it all, you be like, man, but see, that's what these Israelites out here be like, oh, Esau is the white. That's because their skin was red. No, that's not true. Because Africans have red skin too. You know,
But that was just Esau that had red skin. The Edomites,
But my thing is, Esau to that woman, because woman, she had a funny name, Jebusha, and she had all these kids in different dukes and all that. And she had so many of those women, but some of them, they were living in the Caucasian mountains too. I was reading that the other day.
Wait a minute.
I can go, I can do
What,
that.
when you read about the Dukes in there,
These are the sons.
none of those were Gentiles.
But when we got with that Caucasian things and then.
No, he didn't get with no Caucasians.
They were all in there.
They all had.
yeah,
His
Canaanite.
wives
Genesis
were all Canaanites.
And you know
Black.
that because his mother said she vexed her with Mary. She didn't want him to marry them, and Hannah wanted to vex her.
Yes, I know she got some of them here, but I also read she got some Caucasian in the mouth of Caucasian, something like that. He had other women like that. But anyway, one day I'm just gonna.
You know what she's talking about.
I want to see that. Though.
No, she's talking about and it's not in the scriptures. It's in the it's in the Jasher, where it talks about how
Yeah.
Kittim
Right.
and Edom had a confederacy.
Okay,
That's what it's talking about.
sorry.
That's what you're talking about, though. It's Kittim, which is Rome, and Edom. But see, I have an issue with that too, because they could have came together, but they still individually who they are. If your father is a Roman, you're a Roman. If your father was an Edom, you're Edom. As a nation, just like right here, America is a melting pot, made up of different people. But whoever your father is, that's who you are. Whoever your father is, that's who you are. See, so a nation can come together. That don't mean that they become one people. Ethnically, it's impossible. The Father is not the author of confusion. We're the author of confusion. Because my mama is Panamanian and my dad is Italian, so I'm a mutt. No, you're not a mutt. You are what your father is. Your father is who his father was.
And
Huh?
it's a good example is Jonah, when they asked him those questions.
Yeah. Where do you come from? Who people are you? And what country do you come from? He split it down. They split it down to the bare minimum. Because what country you come from ain't necessarily what your ethnic is. So I want to know, and that's where we messed up at. Talk about nationality. Guess what? Everybody in here, as far as I know, nationality is American. Because we got American citizenship. That's not our ethnicity. That's not our ethnicity. Unless you are a Native American, but they don't call themselves American either, so that don't count either. But go ahead.
But I often say that's why the nation of Israel is a nation, but it had other ethnicities involved with it too. Even when we came out of Egypt, the Mizraim, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't just Israelites. It really ain't sometimes about Israelite, because Abraham was no Israelite, Noah was no Israelite. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
But just like matter of fact, Moses, his wives weren't Israelite.
Right.
And they also talk about the foreigners who came in.
Right. The nation of Israel have always been a mixed multitude from day one. From day one. You know. Oh, but before I forget this too, because I brought up the point of the Joshua talk about Kittim joining themselves with Edom, and they became one country. Now, guess what? That was written in what we would call the Old Testament time. It's in the Joshua. Mm-hmm. How come in the New Testament you got Caesar mentioned? Caesar was Roman. He's Italian. But you got Edom mentioned. No, Herod mentioned. The Herods was what ethnicity were the Herods? Huh?
Yeah, women?
No,
they weren't Israelite.
They were Edomites.
Edomite. Oh, right, yeah.
The Herods were Edom.
As a matter of fact, there is a verse in the New Testament, I don't know where it is, where doesn't it speak about Herod? I don't know, no, it might be in the one of the law schools, that he married a Hebrew woman.
Yeah, he married, was that Bernice?
Yeah.
Or it was either Bernice or Drusilla, one of them. I get them too confused.
Now, guess what? I think.
But anyway, real quickly before you go there,
yeah.
I just want to show you that even in the New Testament, if Italian or Roman was a Roman.
Right.
not an Edomite, but an Edomite. The Herods were Edomites. They were not Romans. Now, citizenship, they all had Roman citizenship.
Okay, yeah.
Like
So the
Paul. Yeah.
Paul, the Hebrew, had Roman citizenship, but people read that and think he's an ethnic Roman.
Right. And even the soldier said, "Aren't you that Egyptian?"
Aren't you that Egyptian? Which, right, exactly. But ethnically, you don't have mixed ethnicity. You only have one ethnicity, and it comes from your father, which comes from his father, his father. What was you about to say?
Oh, I was about to say, but and then if it came down to like the complexion and all that, Edomites would still come back to a dark race. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think this in your lesson, but First King 11, you can see her died when he was running from Dawid after they was killing a whole lot of Edomites. He ran to Mitzrayim. He was in Egypt. You know what I'm saying? At this time, Egypt was still primarily dark, predominantly dark. You know what I'm saying? So what type hiding he was doing being a so-called white man, if that's so. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But indeed, he was dark skinned. You know what I'm saying? But even if it was a situation where you had, according to seed, the Edomite, and he became light skinned if he got mixed in some kind of way, you know what I'm saying? We know scientifically, European people got receptive genes. So it would take nothing for that man to go back black. You know what I'm saying? But that's on totally
After
different.
the third generation, right?
Right. But the point is, though, back in Deuteronomy says to give it to another people, all you gotta look at your last name.
Yeah.
Ain't none of these names Edom.
Yeah.
None of these names Edom.
Not Hebrew.
None of these names Ishmael. The only way we got Ishmaelite name is that we was enslaved over there or we convert to Islam. Like Rashid, Shabazz, right? Abdullah.
Yeah.
You know, but so the scripture is just that clear. It don't leave no room for error. It just lining it up. Line upon line, precept upon precept. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hey, we're doing questions and answers today. I'm not doing a lesson. I was feeling a little bit under. So if you got any questions or anything you could ask, got any that come to mind or no? Okay, well,
Well, you also missed the one where when they were in a distant group. I don't know if this is.
I hear the thing. This
Did you put the post up?
I don't hear it. Yes, you could. I don't think that's something else. I think.
Just put the hand
Yeah, it's
up.
okay. If you don't see no water on the floor, it's okay.
No, what we missed was the one where they were coming out of Mizraim, and they had the Hebrew woman with the child that was Egyptian.
Right,
And they didn't, he blasphemed against Yahweh, and they were
Right.
like, what do we do with the foreigner?
right,
They didn't call him a Hebrew because his mama was a Hebrew.
right, correct.
They called
Correct.
him a foreigner
Because he was an
because his
Egyptian.
father was Egyptian.
Right. Yeah, true that. True that.
Oh, yeah.
They put him in the war. They put him in the war. But Shemaiah, before it come down to look, what applies to us, it applies to them. Ain't no distinction between us and them when it comes down to this banner of the nation of Israel.
Right.
Got the stone. Huh? Right, exactly.
Because we're a priesthood people.
Right. But as I said, see, that we think it's all limited to a bloodline. It ain't a bloodline, it's the nation. That's just like going back to what we was reading in Romans. If you subject to these kingdoms of the world, they're contrary to the kingdoms of the Most High. If you join yourself to the kingdom of the Most High, you can be of whatever ethnicity. It don't even matter what your ethnicity.
But like Cynthia said, even with Jonah, and you can see then when he converted those men, they were a different nationality.
Oh yeah, man, don't have to go and read that.
Now
Yeah,
they're all
that's right.
Hebrews.
I
They're all
love that.
believers.
Man, the way that Jonah is written is so fire, man.
Come on, let's read it.
Huh?
Let's read it.
Really?
Yeah.
Don't y'all get tired of me to read that? Because y'all know I go through a thing when I read Jonah. But we're going to go directly to your point, though. We're just going to read the first chapter. That Jonah is on a whole nother level fire.
Hard headed.
Huh?
That's what hard.
You got it, bro?
Oh no.
Man, you got to go early, man. You know, you got to go a day before we actually go read it.
Already, that's how it goes. Good luck.
I feel like I teach this every 3 weeks. Every week about it.
I hate this small group, man.
Jonah is easy, y'all. It's right in between Obadiah and Micah.
Man, chill out. I can't find Obadiah with it
I
time.
know.
It's Joel and.
There you go. You turn right to it. You're about to turn from it.
Have a cookie.
Man, shoot. You better pay them mine. Oh, man. See, that be the Christians call them minor prophets or
Oh,
whatever.
it is. I'm just saying, it's easy for you to remember that the bigger books are in the front and then the smaller ones come after them.
I'll keep that in mind.
I'm gonna read.
All right, but we only going to read this first chapter, y'all.
All right.
I think. Jonah, chapter 1, verse 1.
Now the word of Yahuwah came into Jonah, the son of Amittai, saying, "Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and cry against it, for their wickedness has come up before me."
Now, here's the thing, right? Nineveh, is that an Israelite city?
Mm-mm.
Huh? Is that an Israelite city?
Is that Italian?
Somebody tell me what Nineveh is. Now, one of y'all better know what Nineveh is. Come on, I don't believe this. Man, y'all got people online
That's in
thinking
Greece.
I ain't doing my job. Man, be quiet.
Quiet.
My.
Wait,
Nineveh is the capital city of, come on,
Assyria.
Assyria. Come on,
Right.
man. Assyria.
Assyria.
Yeah, Assyria.
Assyria.
Nineveh. So these wasn't the Israelites. This was a foreign city. Assyria, the capital city of Assyria is Nineveh. And again, to people that don't understand, the Father did deal with other nations too, for whatever reason. He only know Israel as a priest nation, but he knew these other nations too. Why do you think there ain't no Sodom and Gomorrah no more? Why do you think Canaan was destroyed?
Oh, because he at one point gave them some type of opportunity.
Yes, sir. And again, I don't want to get deep into that, but you're absolutely right. There was some kind of connection that happened between the Father and these nations, and they had to be judged. So now it was Nineveh's turn. And he told this Israelite prophet to arise and go to Nineveh, that great city, and cry against it, for their wickedness has come up before me. Uh-oh, go ahead.
But Jonah rose up to flee unto Tarshish.
Wait a minute, now he's straight up going to a Gentile city. Who's Tarshish? A Gentile nation. Spain, right? He gonna choose to go to Tarshish. Go ahead.
From the presence of Yahuwah, and went down to Joppa, and he found a shrimp. A ship.
As the sister said, I can't.
He found
No, sure.
okay, and he found a ship going to Tarshish. So he paid the fare thereof and went down into it to go with them unto Tarshish from the presence of Yahuwah.
Now this is supposed to be a prophet, and he's gonna do the exact opposite direction and everything. Because if he was in Israel, and imagine on the map, looking at the map, Tarshish is right here, east. Spain is over here, west, north.
You said that backward, then?
Huh?
You mean Nineveh is east?
No, you're looking at me and I'm the map.
No, you said Tarshish is east and Spain is over here. Them the same thing.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Nineveh.
Nineveh, right.
Yeah.
My bad. Nineveh is right here. And Tarshish is right over there. Right. Mika. Go ahead.
But verse 4, but Yahuwah sent out a great wind into the sea, and there was a mighty tempest in the sea, so that the ship was like to be broken. Then the mariners were afraid and cried every man into his idol and cast forth the wares that were in the ship into the sea to lighten it of them. But Jonah was going down into the sides of the ship, and he lay and was fast
So
asleep.
there were mariners, and these mariners may have been mariners of different ethnicities. Because it said, and they cried out, good seeing you, sis. Don't be a stranger.
Yes, thank you.
Hallelujah. And they cried out to their elves, their idols. Every man cried out to his idol because they were scared, right? And Jonah, he was going down to the side of the ship and he lay and was fast asleep. Right, go ahead.
So the shipmaster came to him and said unto him, What meanest thou, O sleeper? Arise, call up upon your idol, or Elohim.
Right.
If so, be that Elohim would think upon us that we perish not. And they said, everyone to his fellow, Come and let us cast lots that we may know for whose cause this evil is upon us.
So they, even though they worship different deities, they felt like whoever the true Elohim is, we cast these lots. These lots are gonna give us the truth concerning why we're going through this stuff. Go ahead.
So they cast lots, and the lot fell upon Jonah.
Uh-oh, so they was a one consent. No argument, no debate. That dude down there asleep, he's the one that we are in this trouble for.
Then said they unto him, Tell us, we pray you, for whose cause this evil is upon us. What is thine occupation?
First thing first, what is your occupation? Because you could be a thief, you could be a murderer, you could be any of these things. Not that you would admit it to it, but if I ask you real quick, what's your occupation? If you can't tell me real quick, that means, oh yeah, there's something wrong with you. But that's the first thing. Something about your job might be the reason why we're going through this turmoil like that. What is your occupation?
How
Go
you
ahead.
occupy your time?
What
is thine occupation, and where you came from?
Right, where you come from, man, because you was on this ship. So it must be something about where you came from that's calling us to go through this. We're gonna get the answer. Go ahead.
What is your country? And of what people are you?
See, 2 separate questions. What is your country / nationality, citizenship, and from what people art thou? Right? It's like Ruth. She's a citizen of Israel, but ethnically she was a Persian. Ruth, not Esther.
My bad.
No, I mean,
I'm thinking backwards.
No, yeah, Ruth, Moabite, right? Ethnically, she was a Moabite, but by country, nationality, she was Israelite. Right. Okay. What people are thou? Go ahead.
And he said unto them, Hebrew. And I fear Yahweh, the Elohim of heaven, which I made the sea and the dry land.
He lied. What he lied about?
About who he felt?
Right. He didn't lie about being a Hebrew. Oh, yeah, I'm a Hebrew all day long. I'm an Israelite. And I fear Yah, the Elohim of heaven and earth. See, he was sending them a message right there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What was the message he was sending them?
My God.
Right. Who I heard you crying about, who you was crying to.
No,
That ain't the Elohim. I was playing like I was asleep, but I was really laughing. And all that noise y'all was making.
For no reason.
For no reason. Because I am a Hebrew and I fear Yahuwah, the Elohim of heaven and earth. So see, when you understand what's out there, it's funny, but if you just read it, maybe you ain't gonna get that. But that's what he was saying. Because usually he would say, I'm the Elohim of Israel. But see, he didn't say the Elohim of Israel. The Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
They don't know what that is.
Oh, bro, come on! You see that? That's exactly what I'm talking about. Who? What? We got to always know who we talking to. When we read it, we got to know why they saying what they said. He say the creator of heaven and earth. Wow. Go ahead. We'll get
Then were the verse 10. Then were the men exceedingly afraid and said unto him, why you did it? For the men knew that he fled from the presence of Yahweh, because he had told them.
Now I'm gonna tell you, this is my own personal thing, my personal thing. This kind of be just like how I deal with, and I'm sure y'all have the same testimony too. Deal with your relatives, right? They don't want to hear nothing you got to say about the truth, but they can't deny that you in this truth. I'll be careful trying to bring up Bible for the Cynthia. I want to talk about everything with Cynthia, but I don't want to talk about the Bible because she's gonna go with the chapter, verse, this, that, the other, telling me why I shouldn't be putting this tree up in my house, decking it with silver and with gold and Cynthia, I don't want to see you until March, okay? Matter of fact, that's Easter. I don't want to see you until June, but that's what it is. Because these all them, by tradition, they serve their idols. Wait, do y'all hear me though?
Yeah.
By tradition, they serve their idols. By tradition, I get up tomorrow morning, I go to the Church of God in Christ. By tradition. But I know that what Brother 12 be dealing with on the Sabbath is the real deal. And I ain't really ready for the real deal, though. I'm comfortable with my tradition. And now I'm praying to my tradition, hoping that this tradition complete. But when I heard this dude right here was a Hebrew, I feared. I'm like, uh-oh. That's why they fear. Because we have relatives just like that. They don't want to hear nothing you got to say, but then, because they know it's going to convict them. Because ain't nothing they can say going to convict you, and they know that. Because all I'm doing, I'm keeping my holidays, and you don't want to be bothered with that. I can't convert them over to my holidays. He was doing that with me a few years ago, before he came into the knowledge of this thing that he's walking in. But that's what it said here. He said, and the men, and then were the men exceedingly afraid. They weren't just afraid. They were like that was the last breath that they was about to take out their body.
Like I'm urban legends. Hold up, wait a minute.
Right.
Elohim, what?
Right.
Oh, hold up. Nah.
Right.
Nah, we can't. Hey.
Verse 11. Check this out. Verse 11.
Said they unto him, what shall we do unto you, that the sea may be calmer to us? For the sea rocked and was tempestuous.
Right.
The sea was
tempestuous.
And he said unto them, take me up and cast me forth into the sea. So shall the sea be calm unto you. For I know that for my sake, this great tempest is upon you.
Now, only reason why you had me read this because you were looking at the thing like she was saying, right? About the different ways in which we identify, right? Okay. The chick that had me read this, did she walk out of here?
Dang.
And that's something.
She said she's gonna check it out. So,
okay.
But there's some parts of people online who hear that. So.
I'm about to say,
He told me,
you hear what I said?
Yeah.
I said the chick that had us read this, she done walked out of here.
I'm sorry, I had to go. Oh. All right, where we at?
What you got in your pocket? She said she had to go get her stuff together. You know what that means, right?
What does that mean?
Man, people looking at me on YouTube like I don't know what this. It's wilding up in there, man. In Jamaica. But anyway, what verse we read that we was at?
We was at 12.
12, okay.
I think.
Yeah, read that again.
And he said to them, take me up and carry me forward into the sea, so shall the sea be calm unto you. For I know that for my sake this great tempest is upon you.
Right.
Nevertheless, the men rowed hard to bring it to the land, but they could not, for the sea rocked and was
Ain't that something?
They didn't want to put him in the.
They didn't want to put. So we all agree with you that you are the reason why this is happening, and he gave them permission to, hey, throw this property out to the sea. Them guys was like, oh no, oh no, oh no.
Your blood ain't gonna be on my hands.
Huh?
Your blood.
Right, ain't gonna be no blood on my, exactly. You see how much sense people got? See, y'all be thinking people ain't got no sense, man, but they knew that. They were smarter than that dude that came up to David and said, hey, you know, Saul got caught up in everything he was hurting. He told me to kill him. And I did. Where my reward at? Now we said, you got a reward, all right. But it ain't gonna be your business. But these guys are like, oh no. They ain't even want to put out a contract now. You said. They rode harder, like, oh, we're gonna get out of this, man. We ain't put my hand on you. Go ahead.
All right, so
But that lets you know the fame of the Most High was abroad.
Oh, so you gonna have me go somewhere else with that? Oh, see, look.
They might not have knew.
Now I have to say this though.
Jacob and Isaac was.
I have to say this though. That's an excellent point. Because see, right now, because we're here every July 4th, y'all hear me teach this all the time, we remind of 1776, what happened. And that's history. But the history of what happened when we were a covenant people and the Father made a covenant with us, in Exodus 19th chapter, the nations all around understood that and they feared. That's history too. But we don't look at it as history. We look at it like Bible, mythology, George Washington. That's really history.
Right.
But I love that. So right here you can see that all these nations, I don't care where they come from, they like, oh, Hebrew, you Israel, oh, respect. See, right now we give that type of respect to nice, glad to join us. All right. Don't be a stranger. All right. Even though you are a stranger. That's another lesson. Anyway, but yeah, I love that point though. Excellent point. See, because we don't have that, we don't have that fear no more of the Israelites. Because our church is saying that people doesn't live with, so I don't deal with it no more. There's nothing to be scared of, nothing. But that's a great point. But anyway, go ahead.
wherefore they cried unto Yahweh and said, we beseech you, O Yahweh, we beseech you, let us not perish for this man's life, and lay not upon us innocent blood. So did he say Yahweh name to them already? Oh yeah, he did say, I fear Yahweh. Okay.
Yeah, so enough.
Okay, upon us innocent blood, for thou, O Yahweh, has done as it pleased you. So they took up Jonah and cast him forth into the sea, and the sea ceased from her raging. Then the men feared Yahweh exceedingly.
I love that. Look, I love that verse. The men feared Yah exceedingly. First, they were scared exceedingly because of the fact that this Hebrew was calling them to get killed. And now, when that sea calmed down and they knew their life was good, that was fear.
And what was that the beginning of?
The beginning of wisdom. Man, not only that, but go ahead. And
then they feared exceedingly and offered a sacrifice unto Yahweh and made vows.
Man, these heathens worship the Father with 1%. They came on the boat one way, they got off the boat a whole nother way. This wicked prophet, this wicked Israelite prophet inadvertently converted the whole entire ship. You know what? He is an example of us today. Being here in all of these other nations with a history of slavery and stuff. But our job is to be a blessing to these nations. That's what at the bottom, not at the top like we supposed to be, but at the bottom we are to do just what Jonah did. That's deep. Okay. Verse 17.
17. Now Yahweh had prepared a great fish to swallow up Jonah. Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights.
Right, he put him in time out. That's what he did. Put him in time to, hey, get your hair right. Sit here in this fix till you get it right. And the sad thing is, like any other Hebrew, that still didn't get his head right.
Well, I just thought about something though. It's almost like Jonah's story line up with what we got going on.
Even Pinocchio.
As if,
Right. That's
like,
what, yeah.
right before we went into captivity, Gentiles end up worshiping El. Like I'm saying, way how they started.
Oh, you mean like Cornelius and all that?
Right. You know what I'm saying? And it's like him going into the fishes, like us going into captivity.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's our time out. It's our affliction period.
Right.
Oh man.
Oh,
Right.
wow.
Right. Right.
And then we get delivered afterwards.
What?
After we go to
Yeah.
Dang, the whole story of Jonah with him reflecting
Yeah.
him.
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
she said it. It's two poles. It's a spiritual
Mhm.
and physical. And she was correct.
Mm-hmm.
Cast him to the sea.
His word will not come back to him void, but it
Accomplish everything he
is
set out to do. Man.
Father, and pray with us.
Wow. Did you get something out of that, Irene?
I showed you.
Hallelujah.
Boy, I just got something dead, boy.
that was good right there.
Oh, yeah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Man.
I'm glad that the Esau thing was brought up too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look at the whole lesson, though. The whole lesson I got on it's on YouTube.
Because that's still, something that is discussed among a lot of people is, confusion.
Yeah.
But I'm just waiting for those two witnesses so they can give it. They can,
Ain't time for him yet.
it's not time, but they're gonna speak the truth in whatever they say.
Sure is.
There shouldn't be no
That's right. None.
discussion.
Yep. None.
It's so crazy how so many things in the scripture were written by different people, but they all what's the word I'm trying to use?
Fit.
They back each other up.
Right.
And then not only that, like the symbolism and the representation and everything. Like I'm talking about the whole symbolism and everything that we just don't take heed to. Like earlier when I was saying that how our body's a temple.
Right. Right.
So I'm saying, like, when you look at the furniture inside the temple, what all of them furnitures represent. And I was reading in another book about like how they placed the bread inside the temple to the north, and then they placed the fire a little bit south of that because of the they're waiting on the rain from the north in the Levant and waiting on the wind from Africa.
Right.
That's how they got they agriculture together. You know what I'm saying? But also outside of that, if you look at the menorah representing the spirits of the Most High, which we supposed to take up, then we got the manna, the bread that we supposed to eat, the word. You know what I'm saying? Then it's also inside the temple, the tabernacle. You got like the where the incense was being burned at. That's like prayers going up.
Right.
Like these are all things that we should be doing, and then we go into the Holy of Holies. You know what I'm saying? Past that wall where we got the law, statutes, and commandments at. But that's in the inner court of the temple.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because we are a temple. When we look at the outer court of the temple, before you even come into the inner court to pray and eat bread, you first had to take a ritual baptism, and then you had it was like looking at the map of the temple. No, you had like where they did sacrifices at.
But
So
no,
you make
you're
an
right.
atonement.
The baptism is first.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so it was like the baptism, then you had atonement, and then you start making these steps. So that's how our whole walk is.
Yeah.
Everything be lining up with each other within like symbolism. And the crazy fact is that you had different people writing these different things. They all line up.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're trying to say when I posted that song, the sanctuary song. I kind of knew what you were saying about when you would have break it down. Y'all know that song, The Lord prepared me to be a sanctuary?
Oh, yeah.
What was that in Peter? It in Peter. So guess what? If we
That's what, for those who are watching this online too, we're doing a casual Q&A on this Shabbat. I hope you guys get something out of this. But anyway,
still saying,
mm-hmm.
Oh, you got a picture right there.
That's similar to the cover of my Shemaiah the Lawgiver. Yeah,
Right.
anyway, anybody got any questions? What time you got?
5:09.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, the bell came after atonement.
Any questions?
But it's like
Let me look at
our
the
holy
time.
days too.
Any
Like
questions?
backed up, someone's waiting.
It's just so crazy
No
how
question.
everything has layers to it.
Yeah.
You can take the simplest verse, like, and you can throw in the explanation.
Just like
Right.
the onion.
Peter had said something that struck my attention.
As long as you understand the original intent first.
Right, yeah.
As long as you understand that part first, and then you can reason it out. It still got to fit according to the written word.
Right.
All right, where we at, y'all? Anybody else got any?
No, I'll just read some of the comments. Andrea said, great point, AJ. I forgot what point she was talking about. And then she said, physicians are sorcerers. Maybe that's what she was talking about. Great point, AJ. Great point. Physicians are sorcerers. And then she said, snap to Cynthia. Snap. Love her. And that was it.
Okay.
And she talked about the mixed multitude. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Love you.
All right. Hallelujah. Well, with that being the case, y'all, we're gonna go ahead and stand up, face your bruises, close out in prayer. Mm. Hallelujah.
Father God, we thank you for this day. Thank you for what you're doing in our lives right now, Father. We ask right now that your will be done in our lives, Father. Allow us not to walk in the way of the wicked, but the way of your ways, Father. Allow us to please you each and every day. Help us to continue. Keep us, lead us, and guide us to all truth. As we go through this week, Father, anything that's born against us and not prosper. That anything that rises up against us, you shall condemn in judgment. Father, we thank you. We give you all the honor and the glory. Yes, your honor, shall we pray. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.